Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. So today, a super exciting video, the next stage of the fragrance that I'm creating, the next stage of Soki Fragrances. I wanted to introduce to you my brand logo that is going to be my fragrance brand. I had so many ideas and concepts and mood boards for this. I wanted it to be something that was really feminine, but also representing a lot of strengths, because my perfume, I want it to be the kind of thing where you walk down the street and it like lifts you up, it makes you feel taller, it makes you feel stronger. You can tell that you're wearing it because you're sort of walking a little bit taller, you know? So I wanted it to be that female but strength. And I think oftentimes females are portrayed that are strong are either portrayed in like a masculine, like sporty way, or in a sort of evil witch way, whereas I still wanted this to be delicate and feminine. I am also a huge fan of the moon and stars, and I'm a Sagittarius, and I wanted to incorporate all those type of things that are very me, that I love, into the brand as well. So I've been working with a designer called Ibby and meeting with him, discussing, taking him through my vision. And he's been taking all of my sort of thoughts and ideas and has created a logo out of them. And this is something that's totally new, something that I never would have been able to come up with on my own. And the logo is, on the face of it, you know, it's a logo, but underneath it is months and months of thought and a whole journey that got to this point. So in this video, I'm going to show you, and Ibby is going to explain the process of how he came to the logo, where he started, all the different shapes and ideas, and then where we ended. So hopefully every time you guys see the logo in the future, you'll understand and see that whole backstory. You won't just see the logo. So guys, I hope you like it. Let me know what you think of it in the comments. If you want to stay up to date on my perfume journey, then down below in the description box I'll leave a link where you can sign up to my newsletter to stay informed. Do fill out my survey, market research survey. I'll leave that linked as well down below. And the Kickstarter campaign is going to be coming soon. Enjoy!
So I began the process with the answers from your brand questionnaire. So we had your mission, your vision, your target audience, and the personality. So here, this is just for me to reference. Like throughout the design process, I'll always go back to this page and see if I'm fulfilling like your vision, your mission. Does it connect with the target audience and your personality? So a couple things that stood out to me is signature fragrance, aspirational brand, which the everyday woman associates with. I really like this, but yeah, that really stood out for me. And the target audience, one thing that you said, you mentioned perfume as being a part of your identity. So I really like that, because when something is a part of your identity, it's something that's really close to you, you know. It's almost like here I've got like the woman with the perfume inside her body, because that's something that's a part of you, it's your identity. And for the personality, you use the three words ethereal, strength, and feminine. One thing that, like I said this to you when I first, when we first spoke, ethereal, like I've never heard that word ever before. I've never heard it. So when I heard that word ethereal, I was like, what is ethereal? So I done some research, and the definition was delicate and light, almost like not from this earth.
Yes, definitely.
Yeah. So I was like, wow, this is like, there's a lot to explore there. You know, that word
universe,
alone. There's a whole universe. And then we got strength, and then we got feminine. I picked your personality. I picked a few of the words. I picked ethereal and feminine because I felt like they were the strongest words. Ethereal, I felt like I could do like a whole, like a whole brainstorm on that. So ethereal, extremely delicate and light in a way that seems not to be of this world. So just brainstorming from the word ethereal, I went to celestial and heavenly, and then we got astronomy, we got astrology, we got beyond this world, we got the horoscopes, the stars, the sun and the moon, the planets. So there's like a whole cosmos there to explore. From the word feminine, I picked divine, boundless, any shapes that represent femininity. For me, feminine shapes are like either circles or like flowing, or like just boundless, because the woman's energy is boundless. So I was just drawing out a bunch of shapes that I felt like represent femininity. And here I've got divine and I've got goddess. Divine is nice because it's like the divine feminine also connects with like ethereal and feminine. It kind of gels them both together. So I felt like that was definitely an option to explore. And here we've got goddess, we've got the crown, using your references that you sent me as well, because you had a lot of crowns in there.
Like Greek goddesses.
Yeah, a lot of mythology and a lot of interesting references. That was like, it's funny because I looked at your references, but I didn't want to put too much effort into like, do you know what I mean? But when I go through the process, you get to see like everything kind of just come together. It's quite magical. I had met with one of my other clients she's quite big into this whole alchemy and energy, and she's quite big into astrology. So she mentioned to me, if there's an eclipse happening on December 4th. I was going to LA at the same time, so I was like, oh my god, I'm gonna be in LA when this eclipse is happening. Like maybe it's gonna have some answers for me. I really looked at it as like maybe it's gonna enlighten me or something. So I went to LA, I come back, and I had this whole new sort of, I was really inspired and ready to just continue with your project. But I knew one thing, I knew there has to be a moon element in there, because the eclipse happened during the project. So I'm like, I have to channel that energy and put it into the design. It just has to be done. So when I come back, I explored like the whole solar system, the moon. Here we've got like different stages of the eclipse. Maybe there's some shapes I can take from it. I explored a logo type, just using Soki and just seeing if there's a way that I can put the moon in there. Just exploring options, really just no limits. There's a lot of nice shapes that you can pull from the moon, so there's a lot of things that I could do with it. But one thing that stood out to me was this whole idea of like the shapes coming outwards and flowing and being boundless. So I kept going back to this kind of shape, this outward shape. And one thing I remember as well, this eclipse, it was the last eclipse of Sagittarius. And when I come back, I was like, you know what, let me find out what star sign you are. I had no idea. I was like, I have to ring Sophie and find out what star sign. So I know definitely I'm going to have the moon in there. But star sign wise, maybe it'll be nice to put your star sign in this. You're a Sagittarius. Yeah, so when it was like, it's the last solar eclipse of Sagittarius, I was like, there has to be a moon and there has to be like a Sagittarius element in there. So, which brings me to my next page, which is exploring the star sign Sagittarius. Let me find out what Sagittarius represents. So one of the words was independent and likes to travel, because we love to travel. So here again, I'm pulling references from travel. I got direction, I've got the compass. Again, it's the shapes within the compass that really stood out for me. It's quite ethereal. And then obviously we've got here the symbol that represents Sagittarius. We've got the bow and arrow,
which is kind of like a moon or a shooting star.
It's like everything, it's like the design was just working on its own. I didn't even have to honestly, I felt like all the answers were just there. They were just coming in. So the whole moon and the arrow also represents like, again, direction. And also maybe I could turn it into like a crown. So there is elements that I can pull. Again, just exploring. And then this page, it's a bit random, but it makes sense to me because I'm the type of designer who I kind of let my things that happen in my life influence the design. So like that client I had mentioned earlier about the eclipse, she had this deck of cards, the divine feminine oracle cards. I was like, yo, what the hell is this? So I'm just flipping through the cards. I'm just like seeing all these things come into my life, and I'm like, this is crazy, right? So I went through the deck of cards, and there was a card called the cosmic egg. And I was like, the cosmic egg? And the definition is, the cosmic egg from whom all life has sprung, the beginning of all life, is the symbol of the divine female's creative force. So I was like, I like this idea of the egg, and it kind of represented like the divine female and like the divine feminine being in an egg. And the shapes that I can pull from the egg as well, they look very similar to the moon, like around it. So I explored some options, like let me just see if there's anything I can kind of make happen with this idea, because I really did like the idea, but nothing was really standing out to me. I just explored it. So this page is a straight off the bat, like no specific sort of direction. I've got all of these ideas. Now I'm just gonna sit here and I'm just gonna let it breathe, let it do its own thing, kind of like just create itself.
Yeah.
So you can see I'm naturally moving towards this direction. I just really like those shapes are coming outwards. So I was gravitating towards those ideas. I don't know why, but throughout this whole process, I never used the figure of the female. The reason I didn't use the figure of the female is because I don't want to jump straight to like a figure of a female. You know what I mean? I want to explore other options.
Yeah.
But if it comes back around and it comes into my process in that way, if it speaks to me, then I just go with that flow.
Yeah.
So here I turned this shape into the figure of a woman, and I was like, right, you know what? That looks really, really nice. Like if it's done well, if the figure is done well, it can look really elegant and really nice. And again, represent that divine feminine, someone that's powerful, but also not putting it in your face, you know? So I knew that I could make this idea work. So I developed it. I tried to put the moon elements in there. So you can see now everything is just coming together. Like things are just clicking. All of the elements, we've got the Sagittarius element of the arrows, we've got the moon, we've got the moon, we've got the woman, we've got the circle. It's almost like a goddess floating in a shield of moonlight, you know.
Exactly.
It's like it really does have that ethereal vibe of like a woman in a shield of light, and
it's powerful, but it's still soft and feminine and
delicate. It just everything just clicked, you know. So I knew if the design looked this good, like on paper, I knew when I translated it over to Illustrator and digitalize it, that extra sharpness and the lines, it's really gonna have that, is really gonna have impact. So at this point I was just super excited to take it onto Illustrator. You ready?
I'm ready as I'll ever be. Excited.
It's the next slide.
Ooh. Oh my gosh.
So you can see like the finessing, the strokes. When I was designing the crown, there was a lot of variations that I had to go through to get it right, especially to follow the kind of the circle, the arms are in a circle as well.
And the head is like a moon.
Yeah, that was like, it got created when I was designing it, I was playing around with the strokes, and I was like, oh, the head, if I add this stroke to it, it kind of looks like the moon. And I felt like the whole design, it just flows so well. Even the typeface, it's like the moon itself as well. So
it looks really smart as well. It looks really
tidy.
Yes.
It's clean. I followed mostly circles, but with the body it's more of a natural shape. I actually tried a body with circles, but it was looking all funny, so I was like, I'll just play around with some organic shapes. And then here we've got black and white, because a good logo has to always work in black and white without no color.
Gosh, it looks amazing.
And here we've got the different lockups. So here I'm just showing you that you can use the name, you can use the icon, you can remove the London if you expand. You can use it all together. These all the elements just working separately. But the O is really what the right typeface was so important to tie in the whole design. I went for a purple. The color can always change, but I decided to go for a purple because it just had that sort of ethereal vibe. It's got like this sort of spiritual element to it. So and it was delicate at the same time. So the choice of purple was very. I went through a few different types of purple, but I kind of had a feeling of the type of lightness that I wanted to bring into the design.
And it's kind of like the night sky can be a bit purpley as well.
Yeah, so it's like that whole, it crosses so many different worlds. So I really felt like purple is the color. Like, and it's weird because usually in my design process, I don't think too much about the color, but with this one, the color kind of comes to me. So again, it was that whole. And then here we've got mock-ups, so business cards, bags.
Gosh, it looks so professional.
Yeah, like you can just imagine if someone's walking on the street with that, how it's gonna make people feel. It's gonna make them feel
it's from like a high-end shop
it's,
in London.
Yeah, it's funny because when I design, I don't design with that sort of like I want to be high-end, or I just want to do something nice, and I want to make sure that it's suitable for you and it's suitable for your brand. And when you see it, that's just the finesse.
Yeah, definitely.
You mentioned about phone case, so I was like, I have to mock it up on a phone case. And then
I love this.
This is just an image I found online. I was researching ethereal images, and I found this really. It had the purple in there, and I was like, you know what? Let me just do a magazine mock-up, so you can see how it would work in
love
print.
all those colours. Yeah, definitely. That's amazing.
So yeah, what do you think?
I'm so happy with it. Yeah, it's amazing.
It's nice.
It's insane. Yeah.
Yeah,
so
like
good. I couldn't imagine it being any better.
That's why I was so excited to show you this design. I was so excited to talk about it. I was like, yo, everybody's gonna see a completely different side of Ibby. They're gonna see that I can, I've got this feminine side, and I do understand, and I want to execute it to that level.